All right, guys, we got Coach John Gross. When he finishes, we will have, like I said, a couple of offensive players, Zerrick Cooper and Tylan Grable, and then Nicario Harper and Marshall Clark will represent the defense following them. If way we'll start is Coach Gross will open us up with an opening statement with fall camp starting tomorrow, and then we'll open it up for questions. If you have a question, just raise your hand, and we'll get the microphone to you. So Coach and everybody can hear the question.
Appreciate it, Josh. Just appreciate Josh putting this together every year. Does a great job. Appreciate the turnout and the coverage that y'all all give us, throughout the year. And appreciate Mr. Sykes and everything the athletic department, goes through to get us to this point and ready to play some football. And what we hope will be more of a normal year than what last year was. We know last year was a trying year on everybody, but I thought we navigated through that year as well as we could, and had a pretty good year, and looking forward to this year. Appreciate ASUN folks being here, Commissioner, and appreciate them being here and the coverage today, and just getting started on that new journey as a program, which I think is going to be, very exciting, for all our sports. In football, definitely just kind of, starting a new conference and being a part of that. I think it's going to be a great journey and a great partnership. So, just going on this season, this seems like we finished playing the other day. We really did, playing in the spring. So, you just kind of different summer, how to handle it. No playbook, just like how to handle all the COVID and playing in the fall and the spring of how to handle, this summer. But I thought we made some wise choices in how we handle our guys and, feel like they're fresh and ready to go, kind of rejuvenated. And, I hope I'll still be saying those same things halfway through or towards the end of this season, But I think, it's mostly positive things taken out of playing in the fall and spring. But I think I've been asked a question, everybody I run into, your typical fan will go, hey, it's pretty cool playing in spring. I like that. And I'm like, we liked it. It was good. I mean, we got to compete, had a good year. And but what you don't understand is, you take our first two opponents in UAB and Florida State. They don't have to deal with this. It's about developing kids. So, we got guys going into their third year, and incoming freshmen this past year that haven't been through a complete all season. So we sit there and we put on 15, 20 pounds a kid during all traditional all season. Those kids have lost that because COVID got them the first time, and we shut down in the middle of an all season, and we played this past all season in spring. So, football is a little different. You got to build that mass and build a guy up, and it goes into it. So, I don't know how that's going to affect us, down the line, because you stole those two all seasons from those players. But I think our guys have handled it pretty well. We kind of hammered them pretty hard during spring, as far as what we did weight room wise, and kind of caught up a little bit on that. But, as far as the mental, physical fatigue, I don't think we've got that right now. I think our guys are fresh. They're hungry. They're ready to play. We gave them enough time off and kind of recovered. So, I say every other team in the country is going to be saying this as well. We got a good team coming back, and we pretty much got the same team. The COVID year didn't count, so everybody's playing. Everybody's gotten, they got 18, 20 starters back on most every team. So it's going to be kind of a different college football year, and you're going to be dealing with some experienced teams. So there's going to be a lot of good teams out there, and I think you can look down our schedule, and you'll see that. UAB's got probably 21, 22 starters coming back off their roster. Florida State's added a bunch to theirs, but they got everybody coming back. Sam Houston will have everybody coming back off of a national championship team. So it's going to be some really, really good football is what I take away from that. You're going to have some veteran teams, going head to head. And it's going to make for an interesting fall, I think, for everybody, for every level. So I think the landscape of college football is changing, tremendously. And this year, I don't think you've ever seen as big a change as what we're going through with the NLI and the one-time transfers and things like that. And some good change. There's going to be some things that will have to level out here over the next few years. But I think that there's some good things for student athletes as long as it's handled the right way in a positive direction. So I don't think that's affected our guys a whole lot. I believe we've got a good foundation of a program, and our guys, love playing here, and it's been good. So, like I said, just open it up for questions, and like I said, just excited to get the season kicked off. and good to see y'all in person and not on a Zoom. Told Mark, I said, I about forgot what you look like in person, so many Zoom calls. It's good not to be doing this by Zoom for sure.
What were you seeing out of Zerrick before he got hurt? And I guess how fortunate is it to have him back this year?
I think Zerrick he's always been a really great player. Got an NFL arm, studies the game, loves the game. I think he kind of, came into his own in the fall. If you say he had some negatives before in turnovers, that would be the negative you took away from him. I think he corrected some of that in the fall. I think his leadership has gotten grown so much, over the past few years. So he's just a veteran guy that's coming back. It's got good leadership ability, and I think we'll continue to cut down on the turnovers and be a great leader. So, I think we missed him. Zion had a great spring. I think we missed him, in the spring as well. So, I think this team is going to be excited to have him back and have him playing in the fall. So we're looking for good things from him, and just build on, I think, the fall that he had last year in coming back.
Coach, could you talk about your offensive line? You mentioned experience, and that's a group that, for a couple of years there, it was very young, and it seems like they're a much older group now.
They are. They're more of a veteran group now, and we're excited about them. And like Tylan Grable, you'll see he's just a high school quarterback. It's turned into what I think is going to be potentially an NFL, offensive tackle or guard. So he's just kind of come into his own, come into us as a tight end, and then kind of grew into, being that offensive lineman. But we got a bunch of guys back, and just adding depth there. And I think that's the key, offensively. You can have all the skill you want to have, but if you're not good up front, you're not going to be very good offensively. And so anytime that you're young or not very talented up there, you worry about your football team because they're involved on every play. Success is theirs. Where you throw in the football, they got to be able to protect. You got to have time to throw it. I always say you can have all kind of routes and draw up a lot of good pass routes, but if you can't protect it and have time to get the ball off, you're in trouble. And then we believe in running the football, so you got to be able to run the ball. And I think that's where those guys improve so much in the fall and the spring is being being a unit and playing together, and they're just better, and I think that comes with that experience. So it's good to have all those guys back up front and playing.
With the transfer of Trey Berry, what are you guys looking at tight end? Is there a battle there, or do you have someone who already knows is going to be there?
Yeah, and you don't replace a Trey Berry, I don't think, with one guy. I think it's going to be multiple guys that'll, be able to fill in for his skill set. And we got some young guys that I think will step in and do really good. And, Braden Hill is a local guy that I think will step in and play a good bit. I think we got like a LaShawn Jarrett that's coming in nobody knows about yet. It's going to be a really dynamic player. So I think we got some guys that's got a skill set that's going to help us at that position. We hate losing Trey. He had a great career here. Wish him well, and that's something transfer portal and the grad transfer thing gives you. You look, and we're always going to approach it that way. If we have a guy that we feel like can get out and find a better situation, what he sees as a better situation, then we're going to support that, and I'm gonna help him. Me and Trey had several conversations about that through the time, so it wasn't a hasty decision on his part. So I think hopefully he'll have success where he went, and we'll. I tell kids all the time, look, Jacksonville State been playing football for a long time, way before I was born, so they're going to play football if I'm the coach here or not the coach here, and they're going to play football whether you play here or you're not here. So we're going to move on. So whoever we got, coaching staff-wise or player-wise, we're going to play and we're going to get after it. So I just wish him well. But I think, you'll see some new young talent there that you'll like what you see.
Toughest schedule you've had since you've been here?
I'd say it's the toughest schedule Jacksonville State's ever played. I don't think there's ever been a tougher one, for sure. So I think that helps you though. We don't. Me and Greg talk about that a lot. About it's. I'll be honest with you. It's hard fielding a schedule at Jacksonville State. That's no easy task, and I'm glad to see us have some FBS games back on the schedule, because there was a time there, probably a 2 or 3 year period, where you couldn't get anybody to play. So I'm glad to see some of those games, back on our schedule. Our guys look forward to those games. They look forward to the challenge of that. And then the interesting thing of this, makeshift conference for a year, which we get automatic qualifier out of. Boy, you're talking about a really good, strong conference. I mean, it's going to be good with your Texas teams and what we feel like is a base of a ASUN conference that's a strong football league. You got some traditionally strong, football powerhouses, I think, in FCS that make up this ASUN conference. So you're going to see I said a while ago, you're going to see a lot of great football, and I think you'll see a lot of great football, in this makeshift conference for this year for sure. But it is a challenging schedule, and I think that helps you down the line. I mean, we're never going to back down from competition. I think when you play those games, when win or lose, I mean, it helps you when it gets playoff time and gets in deeper into that conference schedule.
To go back to Trey Berry, he's not the first one who's left, and you've been very supportive of, and you've expressed very positive thoughts toward. Could you go over what your philosophy is on being supportive and why you are with those guys who may have said, I need to go somewhere else?
Well, I'm about people, and I think life's about relationships. We had that in our Devo a while ago, our coaching staff before we come up here. It's about the way you treat people and the way you handle people, and I want to make sure that, they do what's best for them. Now, it's my job in my position is to educate young folks on what the best decision is for them and what information there is out there, because there's everything you deal with. There's misinformation out there. A lot of times people that's recruiting you from a different place, it'll tell you one thing and it's really another. So I want to make a good decision for them. And, I don't know if Trey made the right decision or wrong decision. I mean, I think that we give him all the information, and we worked on that for about 6 months, So around Christmas time, he had, wanted to enter transfer portal and decided not to. Put his name in there for a day and then came right back out. But I told him, I said, look, I'll call folks and find out, who's interested, who's not interested. So at that time at Christmas, I made probably 5 phone calls for him. Just finding that stuff out. So I'm very transparent with the way I handle everything, and I believe in that. I believe people build trust in that, and I think that there's no other way to handle it. It's just part of the game, and I can't say that it's all positive or negative, but I think it's going to take it 2 or 3 years. It's like wherever major rule change you see when college football, when this happens, like when cost of attendance hit, it takes it 2 or 3 years to kind of level out. I mean, this stuff with the NLI and the one-time transfer, it'll level out as I think student athletes educate themselves on it, So I can't say that all our guys landed in the spot they need to land in. A lot of times, kid gets in transfer portal, I know in all sport, I hope this information is correct. I saw one of the coaches about yesterday. In all sports, I can give y'all a guess. How many student athletes were in transfer portal? All sports. And the calendar started over today on the count in transfer portal. 28,000. 6,000 something of that was football, So, I mean, that's a lot of kids. Does that mean scholarships out there? No, there's not. So there's kids that I'll give you, there's one in our conference we recruited a little bit. This going to be a walk-on at a FBS school that didn't land at a school, okay? And he was a really good player. I'm not going to name the name, but, sometimes kids think the grass are greener other places, and it's really not, for them. So sometimes it is, So it's one of those things. I think it's going to take it a few years to kind of level out. In situations, I can see it being a good thing for kids to be able to do that. And sometimes I think learning lessons and learning life lessons, it may not be a positive thing. A kid sometimes needs to go through a hardship and, learning that toughness to overcome that. That's the life lessons I love about our game, is being able to do that. Sometimes that's stealing a little bit of the integrity of the game. Is that not being for a student athlete? No, I'm for student athletes. I want them to be able to make a decision to go to another school if they need to go to another school. But that's just kind of the way we handle it. We're very transparent. Those guys know they can come talk to me about it. And, we're always going to handle it, that way and evaluate them as a player and see what's out there for them. If they feel like our environment's, what they want to stay in, that's the case too. And I feel like you just got to build your environment and make your environment conducive to where kids don't want to leave. And I feel like we've lost very, very few kids over the years, because we've had a lot of kids. This is my first rodeo with this. I mean, I've been dealing with this for, 7 years. I've been babies. I laugh. I'll talk to some of the FBS guys. I'll talk to them. They'll be like, dang, so-and-so, they got a board and they're recruiting my kid. I said, I've been doing that with grad transfer guys for 7 years. I'm having to babysit guys, and I got other head coaches, other places FaceTiming the guy, to try to get him to leave. So I've had to deal with that. And I think that's kind of helped us in this situation. But like I said, I think our kids I want them to know my door's open, and they're very comfortable in talking to me about, what's going on with them as a player, what their options are, and get them to where they want to be. At the end of the day, it's about developing players. And I think just as long as the kid's getting developed and he's got good film, he's got a chance to reach lifelong goals. It's like once fixing to come on the stage. Coop could have left 2 years ago, right? I mean, he's been a graduate guy. He's had the opportunity to leave. He's probably, telling how many phone calls he's had since last fall was over. And I'm talking about Power 5 guys. So he could have took his choice of 12 to 24 schools that he could have went and played for other than the Gamecocks this fall. But I think because of our environment, the way we've handled that, the way we've been transparent with him, he's very comfortable in being a Gamecock, So, I mean, and like I said, you're going to lose a kid every now and then, but most of the time we're going to keep them in our program, I believe, for sure. Good question, though, Mark. It's something you got to address. I mean, that's what I tell our coaches all the time. Talk about the elephant in the room, have those tough conversations, and talk about those things. So we try to do it positionally, and we try to do it through my office as well.
It was fun last spring, watching your running backs, and that seems to be a pretty solid position for you. Same expectation this year?
It is. We got all those guys back. Uriah will be, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hinge report. Uriah went through a little surgery. He'll be out first of the season, but those other guys are all back, and then we'll have, Rontavius will be able to play this year too, so it'll be his first kind of debut, and so he'll fill in there as well. Another local guy from Jacksonville High School. So we're excited about the running back position. We really are. Those guys all do a really good job in protection and, blocking for one another when they need to, and then they do a good job with the ball in their hand as well. So, I mean, it's another veteran group that, we're looking for a big year from, big fall from, for sure.
How has Ron Wiggins developed in the time that he was not playing, and what are you hoping to see out of him this year?
Well, you'd always tell about those guys come in, and he had to sit last year and couldn't play, when you get feedback from the defensive coaches. You come in a staff meeting, they'll go, golly, when that guy gets on the field, he's going to be something else. So when he can go down there with a scout team and he can, perform against the first defense, second defense, and do really well, and they're bragging on him, he's going to be really good. So I think, he had a productive year. I think sometimes it's kind of like the old school of, when a freshman couldn't play back in the old days, it gave a kid time to develop. And early on, before the one-time transfer and some of this grad transfer stuff, I wanted to redshirt every one of our kids because I think it's a really good thing. Number one, they get their masters paid for educationally. Number two, just lets them develop. You'd rather that guy be playing. Because when I first got here, first 2 years, we had guys graduating, exhausting eligibility, and they didn't play but 20 snaps as a freshman, 20 the whole year. So that year was wasted. And so we always tried to keep the guy who's an older guy, and that's what some of this is kind of stealing from the game, I think, is developing your average player that ends up getting really good. So I think it's in Ron's situation, last year's great for him. He got to get his feet wet academically. He had a great, solid year academically, and then on the field, he got to practice every day. So he did a really good job in practice. I think you're gonna see a lot of good things from him in the fall.
Deion Sanders at SWAC Media Day got upset with a reporter who called him by his first name. You don't seem to care whether we call you John, Coach Gross, or just Hey You. Why is that?
Humility, I want to be humble. I'll answer to about anything, so whatever you want to call me, that's fine. That's up to you, so I don't think what you call somebody has to do with the respect of how you perceive them, so you're going to perceive me off how I treat you. It goes back to what I believe in is relationships, so I think that's what's most important than anything. So like I said, you can call me about anything, I'll answer to it. Just don't cuss me too bad, right?
This is general. You don't have to talk about it as it relates to Jacksonville State in your locker room, but you mentioned NIL earlier. What are some of the things that you think, given your background in high school and on the college level, what do you think this does to the overall landscape of college athletics?
I think it changed. I think it's the biggest rule change in college football that there's ever been, really, And I think there's a lot of good things going to come from it. We was having this conversation back here a while ago. I think there's a lot of good things going to come from it, and there's going to be some bad things come from it. I go through the history of, you relate things back to what you know and what you think are relevant. Take Tyrone Protho, who is a local guy here. Everybody from around here who knows who Tyrone Protho was. Maybe if you don't know, he played at Cleveland County and played at Alabama and would have probably played in the NFL 10, 15 years, So while he was at Alabama, probably that, I'll try to do the math right, at that time, I don't know that he'd have made $1 million in NLI money, but he would have made pretty good money. NOI, but he got hurt. He broke his leg, went through all kinds of surgeries, never was able to play in the NFL. So for a kid like that, to make that kind of money, I think is a good thing. So there's going to be some good things come from it. Now, can I say a quarterback going and getting $1 million in NOI, and you got offensive linemen on that team not getting a dime? I don't know if that's the way to do that or not. So Coop may disagree with me there. I don't know. He probably share the love with them big boys up front, But I do think that, if you find a way to uniform it and you can spread the wealth with your team and for your university, I think it's a good thing. Now, I think, and this is just personal opinion of mine, but I think there's, like I said, you got to find a way to, I say regulate it, a way that every college athlete can receive benefits from it. Okay, so I think it's kind of catering to you 4- and 5-star guys or basketball guys, in two sports really, men's basketball and college football, Power 5 level. And so is softball girls or volleyball girls or women's basketball or, Division II football players going to really have a benefit from the NOI? No, probably not, So I would like to see it used more for academically, given incentives academically, given incentives that way. I kind of like the way the U is using their deal. That's promoting their program, So, like I said, I don't think we'll have to ever worry about that too much, Greg. I don't think we'll have the financial means to do a whole lot with that. Now, for our players, very open to them, being able to do some of this stuff, and I think that's not kind of bashing the NCAA, but I think that, maybe the NCAA wasn't proactive enough with some of this stuff. I mean, when you won't let like Coop, if he wanted to go back, or Marshall's over there, if Marshall wanted to go back down to, Montford, Alabama, and have a high school football camp, the Marshall Clark camp, well, last year he couldn't do that, right? But why shouldn't he be able to do that? And so that's some things there that I think a kid, if he wants to go out and work a little bit and make a little money off his name, image, and like, it's a positive thing, right? So I think those things are going to be positive. There are going to be some negative things that I'm not going to go into that I think will come out of it where people don't use it the right way. Because the freshman deal where freshmen could play in 4 games. We all thought that was going to be used for the right reason. Well, when a kid quits a team after he's played in 4 games in the middle of the season, nobody's seen nothing coming. There's going to be some things with the NLI that you're going to see that's not going to be used for good, so those things won't be good. But I think for the general most part of it, there'll be some good things come out of it.
What's the status with Zion, and how is he dealing with his injury? How's he doing?
Doing really good. Many of you may not know this. Zion, he tore his other knee up as a junior in high school. And so he's been through that surgery before. So he's way ahead. The knee hurt in the spring is, even stronger than the other knee right now. So, I mean, I think we'll get him back probably end of October, somewhere around there. And that's one of the negatives I didn't say a minute ago about playing spring is you get somebody that gets tore ACL or shoulder like your eye. I mean, it's hard to get them back to start that. We hold our breath every spring training, worried about how many we have major injuries, for the fall, getting them back. But his eye's doing really good. Really pleased with where he's at right now.
My stats this morning. So if you guys, I'll let you both, you can go first, just kind of open us up and tell us about your thoughts, getting ready to get back on the field tomorrow, and then Tylan, you can follow him up with the same comments.
I'm actually kind of ready. Being out the spring season, playing the 4 games in the fall, I'm just looking forward to, picking up where I left off, enjoying the game of football with my teammates and my coaches, and, we'll just look forward to opening up with UAB in a new conference.
To second what Coop had said, I'm really excited to just see what this fall season has in store for us. I think our team, I think everybody's really excited to just go ahead and get back at it.
Zerrick, Coach alluded to, opportunities you've had to transfer since you've been here, teams that have reached out to you, that kind of thing. Can you give us, a blow-by-blow of that and kind of take us through your process, your thinking?
Going back last fall, after the 4th game, it was kind of tough. It kind of took me back to high school. Being a high school kid coming out of recruitment, and I pretty much had calls from pretty much SEC, ACC, HBCU. So I mean, it's kind of crazy. Now I just want to thank my family for keeping me grounded and just helping me through that process once again.
Just as a follow-up, you obviously stayed here, so tell us about that decision-making.
I mean, it really didn't make sense for me to transfer. I'm here for 1 more year. I got 5 months left till my whole college career is over. I mean, I just looked at that, and I mean, there's no place like home here. When I met Coach Gross back in 2018, we had that talk, and I just feel like he's no other coach to have. I mean, even though he's got similarity to Coach Sweeney, but nah, I just love Coach. I love Coach Gross, his coaching philosophy and everything like that. I just love the atmosphere here, like you said.
All right, Tylan. Somebody asked Coach Cross earlier about replacing Trey Berry. You came in as a tight end.
Yes, sir.
Now you're an offensive lineman and preseason All-American. Talk about making that move, the switch, and would you rather be out there running pass routes instead of beating up on somebody all the time?
It's very different. I will say that some people don't know I actually played quarterback in high school, so coming down here to play tight end, that was also kind of weird. Just getting used to it because I never had blocked anybody, but I will say like playing offensive line, it's different. I say it's different because I was so used to having the ball in my hand, but I wouldn't trade it for anything now.
Hey guys, this will be for both of you. Start with Tylan. What excites you the most about going to the ASUN this year?
I would say just a variety of opponents, different opponents. The teams that we have join the ASUN, I feel like is going to come together to be something very special.
I think for me, it'd be the level of competition we getting ready to face. In the OVC, we had a lot of opponents that we kind of ran through. No disrespect to them, but I feel like the ASUN would be more of a challenge for us and give our team a chance.
How did you feel like you were progressing in the fall before the injury happened?
I think I've grown as a quarterback overall. Leadership, staying more poised in the pocket, just really just taking control of the offense. That whole offseason, I kind of just focused on changing my mindset and getting ready to prepare for the fall season. And not kind of so much focused on the future that I was that I can potentially have. But it's also just working on as a team player, being a leader and stuff like that.
Preseason All-A-Sun selection of all over last year. Nicario was our defensive player of the year and the preseason ASUN defensive player of the year. So guys, if y'all just open it up, we'll start with Marshall. Just what are your thoughts about getting back on the field tomorrow and then Nicario?
Well, of course, we all love football. We play college football. We do this all the time. So just ready to get back on the field and get back to it with the guys that I like to hang around with the most. And, it's only been a little while because we played in the spring, but it feels like we've been away from ball forever. So I'm just ready to get back out there and play the game that we all love to play.
I can't wait to get back out there with the guys. It's a new team, new journey. We got a big season coming up. I'm ready to get better every day. I'm ready to push everybody to get better, ready to compete. I'm just ready to have fun.
Yeah, Marshall, how does the Marshall Clark football camp sound to you, and just what do you think about the opportunities that are opened up with the NIL?
The new rules, it makes it easy for us to provide for our own well-being because, a lot of times you're a college kid, and some people come from a background where they don't, have a lot of financial assistance from home. So just being able to make your own money by your likeness, because we ain't never done anything else but play football before. So, being able to use what you're good at to make the money that you need to get through college, I think that's a good thing.
This is for both of you guys here in the back. It was documented in that Sports Illustrated piece, just the overall schedule that you guys have, given practice and everything from last fall into the spring, now into this fall. Number one, where are your bodies right now and your minds as far as just this overall, as you're kind of in the middle of that, I guess it's 20 games in a very short amount of time grind. Where are you guys right now? We'll start with you, Nicario.
I feel like we didn't have enough time to recover. I feel like, we had a good season. A lot of guys recovered from injuries. They're going to be healthy coming back this fall. And if you was healthy after the season, you should be okay right now. I feel like your mind, your body, and everything right now should be ready to go. It's time to go. You don't have time to look back at the spring anymore. It's a new season. Just time to get focused and lock in on, UAB and get ready for this new upcoming conference we in now. So the body and the mind should be in the right place, and I feel like it is. My teammates, they got good. Everybody injuries right now is very good. I don't hear any complaining. I don't hear anything negative about bodies or mind right now. So I feel like as a team, we're in a good standing. Everybody's ready to go.
Before we started playing in the fall season, we had heard that, we were only going to play 4 games and then we were going to play our conference schedule in the spring. I really thought it'd be a struggle with the whole, with the physical and the mental part of it because you're playing football for a long time if you do that. But, we got done and we wasn't quite ready to be done yet. So it was never really anything about, like, I'm ready to take a break, I need time off. Like, it was never really any of that because we wanted to keep playing anyway. So as soon as the last game was over with, our mind focused back to it's time to play again because we got a lot of stuff that we need to accomplish that we haven't done yet.